a BERM is the way in which soil is being shaped and piled into different topographical formations that are sometimes creating a line, a kind of a barrier. Border is a line between two states, so we're not speaking here about borders. But it's also the only architectural element within which all the architecture of genocide was actually formed. So a BERM forms an enclosure for a military outpost during the time of conflict. So let's say when they maneuvered, so to speak, through Gaza City and Khan Yunis and other areas, the way they moved through, first come the bulldozers, pile high piles of earth around particular areas, and then they feel protected and move inside this topography. It's really, you need to understand that principle in order to understand everything that they have done there. When they created detention and torture camp for Palestinians inside the Gaza Strip, they would dig the soil into a kind of a depression. They would pile earth around it, and that would become a torture center. When they want to create a GHF, starvation rationing station, what they do, they pile the ruins of Rafah. Rafah has turned into a building matter for them, into aggregate within which they build. They pile it up, they create a big yard, they funnel Palestinians into it, they pile hills on all sides, and from above, Israeli soldiers and US mercenaries snipe at the Palestinians. Everything that happens topographically. That needs to be really imagined, and it's not always captured well, I think, in the images that you see through. But the interesting thing is that the architecture of the soil is always temporary, in a sense that it's like dunes. As the Israeli army moves through space, it raises these dunes. Maybe its tanks and sniper go up on top of the dune. They would apply fire onto the other side, and then they will take the other side. They will move the dunes with them, in a sense. So it has the possibility to turn the landscape into a kind of a shifting dunes that are always moving wherever the army is moving. What we see along the yellow line is the kind of fossilization, like turning sand into sandstone in the same way that it happened naturally along that part, and creating what seems to me to be a kind of a wall, a mountain wall that cuts what the previous boundaries of Gaza into two along the middle. And you need to understand that soil is really the instrument with which both the Nakba and the ongoing Nakba and the occupation of Gaza has been undertaken. During 1948, Israel coveted the fertile soil. You have agronomists like Eyal Weizman who are speaking about, who are actually having almost erotic dreams about that particular soil and expelling the farming communities from those fertile soils to the sand dunes along the coast. If you think about it, so many of the refugee camps in Gaza are on sand dunes. The Rafah refugee camp, Tel al-Sultan, which is also a refugee camp, Khan Yunis refugee camp, Al-Shati is on a sand dune, Jabalia is on a sand dunes between clay ridges, etc. Farmers were moved from fertility to aridity. And that is the story. And that is also what happened during the genocide. The area east of the Ali Muntar Ridge, of the line that cuts Gaza in half, is extremely fertile. The area west of it is sand dunes. All Palestinians in Gaza have been pushed onto the sand part. And Israel has taken the entirety of the fertile area. That has also been the means for Israel to engineer starvation. Because to engineer starvation, you need two things. You need to deny the food sovereignty of Palestinians. You need to destroy their entire agriculture so they cannot produce their own food. On the other hand, you need to control the taps of food coming in and out. And only when you do both together and at the same time, you start engineering and weaponizing starvation, and this is what has been done. So thinking about it from the point of view of soil and topography and clay and sand is extremely revealing and allowing us to understand that genocide not as an event that has begun in October 7th, but as a continuity of settler colonial practices along this frontier.